Mele, welcome to the Sipping Point.
Well, thank you, Laurie, for having me this morning. I'm very, very excited to talk to you.
Yes, me too. I can't remember when I discovered the wines of Bodega Garzon, but I found your Albariño at some point and thought, Uruguay, oh my gosh, I didn't even really think of that as a wine producing country because we didn't get many of your wines in this country for a long time. So now I'm a huge fan. I'm so excited to be here with you and for you to teach us all about your wine region, the bodega, and all these great wines we're going to taste together. But I'd love to know, how did you come to even be in the wine business? Always great to meet another woman in wine. So, what's your story?
Oh, my story. Well, I will try to be brief with my story, but it's I was born in Uruguay. Grew up going to the land of Garzón when there was rolling hills, and we used to, ride on horses down there, like near by the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. But when I was around 15 or 16 years old, I moved to Chile. My father was a Uruguayan diplomat. And my first step into winemaking was in the Chilean Catholic University, where I studied agricultural engineer. And then I did my specialization in viticulture and enology, just because always wanted to be like next by nature. By nature, I love rocks and soils, and I will tell you about that later, about the soils and the rocks. But yeah, I gave my first steps in Carmener, like that was my thesis. But being Carmener and being in Chile, my professor used to call me Tannat, because Tannat is the national grape of Uruguay. So probably more than a decade later, I went to UC Davis and then went back to Chile, and I came here to the States. I had the opportunity to work for Bodega Garzon like a decade ago, and I'm finally proud of Showcase Tannat as Tannat as my nickname, working for Bodega Garzon. So it's not only Tannat, but we're gonna be tasting some other beautiful Albariños and Balasto and yeah, but mainly Tannat, national grape of Uruguay.
Love that full circle moment with the nickname and now featuring the wines of Tannat. And if folks aren't familiar with Uruguay and winemaking in general, uh, how many wineries are there? How big of an industry is winemaking in your home country?
Well, we always say Uruguay is the best kept secret in terms of wine production. Our wine history is very vast, just like our neighbors Chile and Argentina, over 2 centuries of winemaking. There's more than 250 producers, but in the past, there used to be like the producers were families. The grapes, first noble grapes, came at the end of the 1800s, and this family production was very small. We have a very high consumption per capita, 2 times the consumption per capita of the United States. So with that being said, in the past the consumption was local, not so many exports, and but wine is part of our culture. We drink wine with with food. It's part of our history, and not until probably Garzon came into the game, like as the largest producer of Uruguay, is that we really started to export to many countries, especially the United States, and that's how people started to know, like probably a decade ago, that we were a wine producer.
Yeah, and I hope everyone goes to the Bodega Garzon website because it's truly stunning, the winery that you've built there, and everything is state of the art. So give everybody but a picture for what give everybody a picture for what's at the winery and how you've built this gravity fed winery from the ground up.
Well, first of all, Garzon is it's a state of the art winery. It's a very, very beautiful place where the winery is grafted in the mother rock. The traditional winemaking, the winery zones were for the production of wine in Uruguay were near Montevideo and the west side of the country. under the influence of the Rio de la Plata, clay soils. In Uruguay, we don't have elevation, so we are far from the Andes. We are facing the Atlantic Ocean. But from Montevideo, if you go 2 hours to the east, in the department of Maldonado, or in the region of Maldonado, the little town of Garzon, it's a very quaint, beautiful train station, like probably less than 200 people lives there. And it's where Mr. Alejandro Bulgeroni and his wife Bettina purchased this beautiful piece of land of Garzon, like in the area of Garzon. There's a lagoon called Garzon, a bridge called Garzon, a town called Garzon. So Garzon is the denomination. And the winery is, he envisioned this winery as a very sustainable, 100% sustainable, LEED certified project. So it's a very special, it's probably one of the most special wineries I've ever been in my life, because the technology is, it's amazing. The beauty is amazing. We have a restaurant in place. So yes, I really encourage the people to visit, because not only because of our wines but you are able to pair the wines with the food and look at the beautiful view that we have from the winery. Is amazing.
Cute, gorgeous. Well, all right. Speaking of beautiful views while you're enjoying wine, I do have 3 of your wines here that I thought we could taste and talk about as we're going through the interview. And the first one I have is your single vineyard Albariño. I tried the basic Albariño, but I have the single vineyard here, which is a little bit of a step up, right? So tell me a little bit about this specific vineyard that you bottle here under this single vineyard.
Albariño. Well, Albariño has become the most important white wine of Uruguay. We are the #1 producer of Albariño in the Americas. And this Albariño, next by Tannat, have changed the history of my country and put my country on a map, basically. As you might know, Albariño comes from Rias Baixas. There's 3 factors that you need for the production of Albariño that are very, very important. One is to be close to the Atlantic Ocean, because you need the filtered light and the rains. Albariño likes rain, but you need granitic soil, decomposed granite. And we have a lot of granite, like most of our soils is like, it's granite, more or less decomposed is granite. So the philosophy behind this wine is to respect what Mother Nature gives us. We ferment this wine in cement tulips. So it's fermented in concrete or in cement that is unlined. And we use our own yeasts, like native yeasts that we isolated, so no commercial yeasts. Of course, we don't use chemicals of synthesis. And after fermentation, this wine remains over the least 3 to 6 months. So it gives like a creaminess at the back of your palate.
Yes.
So
the nose, I mean, lots of people paint a picture, lots of great stone fruit, that fancy word for things with a pit, like an apricot or a nectarine, maybe even some citrus or minerality as well on the back. Yeah,
you're right. To me, the aroma profiles is like white flesh peaches, dried apricots, a little bit of magnolia flowers, like those giant magnolias. It's kind of floral. And then in the mouth, it has a beautiful, remarkable minerality that kind of compensates and balances the acidity. So it's a perfect triangle in between acidity, minerality, and creaminess from the Sorli. And I always express, when I talk about this Albariño, the Albariño of Garzón, that is like white flesh peaches made love to magnolia flowers in an oyster shell bed.
Ooh, I love that. Yeah, that paints a picture now, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it has that kind of brininess, that kind of minerality that lingers in the back of your throat. That is very, 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 very beautiful. It's very
and
gastronomic wine.
The fact that you bring up oysters, this would be delicious. I'm here in Maryland on the East Coast, where we have a lot of oysters from this mid-Atlantic region, but I also love the West Coast oysters from, where you are in Seattle. So I could totally see this with some oysters on the half shell.
I love my Albariño with oysters. I also love it with any seafood. Here in Washington, I love it with chanterelle risotto. It's one of my favorite recipes. But also in Uruguay, we pair it with a beautiful octopus.
Oh, I love,
Grilled
yes.
octopus, because we cook everything in the open fire, and this is a wine that um people here in the States is very seasonal. Like they like, I don't know, rosés in spring and summer, and I think this is a white wine that you can drink all year long.
Year round. Yes, I
Year round.
totally agree.
Year round.
And I fell in love with Albariño from Galicia, Spain, as you mentioned, but also I got the chance to visit Portugal and had some great Albariños there. But I was so delighted when I saw that you were making Albariño. And actually, here in my state, our local wineries in Maryland, Albariño is becoming our signature white grape. So we're gonna have to send you some Maryland Albariño so you can try. But this is absolutely delicious. I love your basic Albariño, which is under a screw cap.
The Reserva, yes.
Yeah, that is great. But this single vineyard is stunning, and yes, with all kinds of fish. Really, I could see this with bigger dishes as we go into the fall. Grilled fish and even poultry and white meat like pork. This would be delicious with.
And since the acidity with minerality is there, I've seen this Albariño in steakhouses where you need something to cleanse your palate and get you ready for the next bite. And it's really, try Albariño single vineyard with steak, and it's with Wagyu or steak. It goes really, really, really well.
Oh, you heard it here, people. You can have white wine with steak. We're dispelling all those old myths that you have to have red wine with red meat. Break it. And this would be great. This retails for around $43 here in the US. Absolutely delicious. The basic Albariño, which is also delicious, I think is more in like the $18 range for where I buy it here. So definitely, and I'll post links to all the wines we're tasting so people can check that out if you're looking to find these. All right, so we love the white that you brought to the table. Red wine is very special though, because we're getting into those fall months, and we just start thinking red so much more. But you mentioned in your opening about how you got started with the winery that Tannat is the red grape that people associate with Uruguay. So tell people, if they have never heard of Tannat before, a little bit about the grape. I know it from the southwest of France, places like Madarin, and some other regions, but I was so thrilled to see it made as a single varietal wine in Uruguay. So tell us about Tannat.
Well, we always say in Garzon that Tannat found its place in Garzon, even though it's this Southwest France grape. I used to call it the ugly duckling of the neighborhood, because next by beautiful Malbec and Carmenere, the lost child, Tannat was this harsh and unapproachable grape, and I will explain why. Tannat is the most tannic grape variety. So next by Sagrantino, if we go geeky into polyphenols and resveratrol and procyan, is the highest concentration of tannins. The word Tannat comes from tannins. So in the past, in my country, being put in like clay, heavier soils, like warmer areas, you really needed a piece of beef in order to, like get along with Tannat. We are 3.5 million population country. We have 12 million cows in my country, so beef is a big part of our diet. And so Tannat, and we have rains, as I mentioned before. So Tannat likes rains, and with our diet, it was kind of like the natural grape that thrived in my country. Being there's more Tannat in Uruguay than in Southwest France. But when we planted Tannat in the east side of the country, like in Garzon, like with coastal influences, with like more filtered light, Tannat, it's a beautiful, beautiful grape variety. The tannins are very well polymerized. It's no harsh and unapproachable anymore. It's soft. It's velvety. It's It's a muscular man in silky pajamas. I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Like,
Oh,
you can erase that later, please.
no, I will
But
not. That sounds fabulous.
it's velvety, and I love to sometimes express Tannat as a ballerina. You know, where you
Mm.
have the legs have muscles, and it's has a beautiful core, but has elegance, it has beauty. So it's not anymore the ugly duckling of the neighborhood. Is a beautiful swan.
Mm.
So it's
What I love is that you've got this really nice red fruit on the nose, but a spice note that you're like, ooh, this is going to be warm. And yes, when you take the sip, it does have tannin, but they are very elegant. It's not an assault.
yeah.
Sometimes you have very tannic wines. It's like, whoa, you feel like your tongue is immediately like sandpaper. This is not that at all.
No,
It's really, really lovely.
it's not astringent at all. It's beautiful. It has nice acidity, a lot of minerality. All the like the connection, the connector of my all the wines of Garzon is minerality and acidity in very well balanced. What makes this wine very, there's a lot of ageability here. Like, you can age this wine you can buy many cases and age this wine like for at least 2 more decades, and it's going to be only better and better and better. But it's drinkable now. Is the drinkability is there, and you don't have to wait in order to approach it. And you don't need a piece of beef.
Right.
You can pair this with a salad, with your charcuterie board. It's a great starter. It goes well with lamb. You mentioned Thanksgiving is my favorite Thanksgiving, because it's very versatile.
Oh,
Grape.
yes, this would be
Yes.
great. Yeah. And that
And
touch of spice ties in with all the different spices we have in our stuffing and different
yes,
dishes. And $22 retail. What a great price point for this. And the fact that it has ageability. A lot of times, the wines in these price points aren't wines you can necessarily lay down and go back to in 5, 10, 15 years. But this we can, right?
yes, it's a great value. It's been since 2015 that we make the top 100 of the world. It's been greatly accoladed. The rates are amazing every year after year. So there's a lot of consistency. If you can find some other older vintages, it's amazing. But the beauty of this Tannat is also that pairs really well with ethnic foods like Indian food, Mexican food, because of the spices. Has a little hint of sage and oregano, but a lot of graphite. And I love the graphite and the minerality in this wine, like the petrichor. It's very, very pretty.
Yes. I love that. And you were mentioning about the grape having tannin being the inspiration for the name Tannat, but tannins, and we won't get too geeky, I agree with you, but tannins are an antioxidant. And so that's where, some of the thought process of red wine being good for your heart and being heart healthier than say white, are those tannins, the antioxidants. There's other polyphenols, like you said, in there too, that are great. But the more tannic the red, the more of that antioxidant quality you're getting. So that's what I love as just an added bonus about Tannat, that, if you're going to have 1 or 2 glasses of red, this is just a great one to do it with.
Well, since you mentioned that, Laurie, let me tell you that Tannat has 4 times the concentration of all those benefits. If you compare a Tannat and a Cabernet Sauvignon, you have 4 times the benefits. So if you're having 1 glass a day, you're having 4 times the benefits. So you can say it's the healthiest grape. It is. And in a world that we are looking at the back labels, reading how much sugar and how much, all the ingredients, like people is getting more, you are drinking mindfully, drink Tannat, because it's going to be good for your heart.
I love that. And, speaking of just being more interested in what's in the bottle and how it's made, tell me a little bit about what you do at Garzon with regard to organic and sustainable. And, what are the things you do to ensure the wine is more, healthy and natural?
Well, all our practices are focused on respecting what Mother Nature gives us with minimal intervention. The way we, in a 360 holistic way we produce our wines is amazing. Recycling every single drop of water and going back with all the material that we extract in the grapes, going back as compost to the soil. But also, once the grapes are inside the cellar, they are treated in a very, very sustainable and holistic way. Like, we do not use chemicals of synthesis. We do not over extract. We do not over oak. All the oak that we use is neutral, French barrels, big format. So this Tannat that you just taste has 6 to 12 months in French oak, and you're not going to find oak character in our wines. And also the silver lead certification that we have is also goes to protect the way our workers work, the air that they breathe. They have natural light. So it's probably the only cellar that I've ever been that you have natural light and you work with natural light.
Amazing.
You have natural light. And every single practice is oriented to that LEED certification and to respect what Mother Nature. We want to express Mother Nature and the terroir, so you can tell that our wines are terroir wines that express a place, sense of place.
Love that. And you just segued me perfect into my next question. And you have a little visual aid for us. So the soil is very special around your vineyards, and Balasto, I believe it's called, or
yes, Balasto. So the next wine.
This is our next wine. But I'd love you to show this is a rocky soil. Tell us a little bit about what makes this soil so special for your wines.
Well, as I mentioned before, we do not have elevation where Uruguay sits, and specifically Garzón is in one of the most ancient soils in the world. It's a 2.5 billion years eroded granite, a decomposed granite that we call Balasto. It's the beauty of this soil is what makes these wines so important. That's why we name our wine Balasto, because this is the only blend that we make, Balasto, and it resembles the defragmentation here of the profile of the soil. So Balasto is the name of ours. In Garzón, we keep it simple. Garzón is the name of the town, the appellation. Balasto is the name of the soil. Okay. And this is the only blend that we make, because all the wines that you're going to taste, the single vineyards, the Reserva, the Petit Clos, are only one grape variety. This Balasto 2020 that you have, Laurie, is a blend of 3 different grapes. And it's
great.
Yeah, it's a very special
Tannat,
wine.
I know, is one. And what are the other 2?
Well, it's a wine that has a 42% Tannat, which is what represents Garzón, or what represents our country, the national grape. It has 39% of Cabernet Franc, and 19% Petit Verdot.
Nice.
So yeah.
So Bordeaux varietals outside of Tannat.
Yes. And it's Tannat is one of the Bordeaux grapes, but they only can put it like in a 1 or 2% because it's very, very harsh in Bordeaux.
Correct.
It's very astringent, so it's just to give some bones, like some weight. They put Tannat, but Tannat is always the majority of the blend in Balasto. We change the blend every year. The first Balasto was 2015. Then we produced 16. And when we had the 17, we presented the wine to La Place des Négociants in Bordeaux, and it was accepted. So this is an icon wine that next by other famous icon wines of the world is released by La Place des Négociants in France, like with Opus One, with Senya, Almaviva. So Balasto was accepted in this 17. We didn't produce 19, and we didn't produce 21. So that makes this 2020 that you have a very, very, very particular wine. It's a collector's kind of wine.
Ooh. Yes. Yeah, we're moving up in price here. In the US, this would retail around $170. But again, this is sort of your upper echelon of what you provide. And the fact that it's rare, you're not making it every single year. It sounds like also it's kind of like that whole, declaring a vintage. 2020 being the vintage that I'm enjoying here and that we're talking about, certainly had many challenges, maybe for winemaking, but just in the world. This is really lovely. And when you put your nose in, you get here more of the dark fruit. And I've even got a note of like coffee in there as well. Tell me about the oak aging on this wine versus the Tannat Reserva.
Well, this wine would select the kind of like the best parcels. We have in Garzon 500 hectares, 250 acres. No, sorry,
Wow.
250 hectares, 500 acres, divided in 1,500 different plots. So it's little parcels, like from the air, it looks like a quilt. It's very pretty, like using the rolling hills as a exposition to the cool breezes from the ocean and the sun exposure. So we have more than 20 different grape varieties. So the most important is Tannat and Albariño as a white, but the second most important is Cabernet Franc. So once we choose the parcels that will be par, like just because of their fruit character or the concentration and the product and the level of the yields, we decide it's going to be Balasto. It ferments in these concrete tulips, the beautiful concrete like cement tulips, and then after fermentation, the wine goes to 2 years, like between 18 and 2 years of French oak big format. So we use for our aging process big botti and or like big barrels. We do not use the conventional 225 barrique. We use this botti or foudre. Just in order to just for aging purposes and not to interfere with the character of the wine. Just we use French from the Tonnellerie Allier for the northern part of France, where the pour is very, very small. So Balasto sleeps in those French foudre for 2 years, and then the wine is bottled in beautiful. You have to feel it, beautiful bottles.
Yes.
And it's ready, but the production is very, very limited.
Yes.
Very, very limited.
And these botti, for those of you who are listening, if you're not familiar, these are like bigger than me, these barrels. And when we say they're big, they're huge. And there's great pictures of them in your brochure you sent me, but on the website, I'm sure they're quite large, right? I believe they're the same as what they use in Piedmont for Barolo. That's where I first saw those size. That's how big these botti are, correct?
I think they are 5,000, 8,000 liters. Like they are pretty big.
I know a lot of the winemakers there used to make their kids go in there to clean them out because the kids can fit inside to wash, to rinse it out and wash it out. But that just makes sure that you get the benefits of the oak as far as softening the wine and bringing the wine together, but you're not getting that smoky, toasty,
No.
overly done flavors.
Not at all. Like actually, we call them wines without makeup. Because they don't. Nice. You are not going to find all character in our wines. It's just purely the terroir, as I told you before. It's beautiful. It's very velvety.
It's so elegant.
Yeah.
It's so elegant.
Yeah, and again, like the first wine we taste, drinkability, also ageability. Not only in our reds, our whites age super, super well. So don't be afraid if you find a bottle of, I don't know, 2019, 20, 21 Albariño. Oh my gosh, it's only going to get better.
Yeah, I need to get some and try. What would you say is the max for aging on the Albariño? I know the reds have much, much more life, but
we had a vertical. We took a group of sommeliers last April. We call it the Garzón project. So instead of Garzón, it's Garzón. It was a group of sommeliers for educational purposes. Like we had a full immersion on Garzón terroir, and we did a vertical of Albariño. We tasted Albariños from 2016, and OMG, they were just to die for. Just like I don't know, Silex or Sancerre. Yeah, that minerality, and next by the acidity, and the wines were so alive, beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And we're talking about the Balasto soil and the, you're right on the coast there. So in a way, you compared it to Rias Baixas, in Spain. But with the reds, I almost feel like there's a little bit of Bordeaux influence here. How do you where would you compare this region to other than, Spain? Are there any other
I don't
comparison
know,
soil or
probably
climate?
Loire, probably Loire.
Ah,
Yeah, I don't know. It's the fact and the beauty of Garçon terroir, since we have that filtered light and that coolness from the ocean and the cool breezes, but we have a very long ripening season until the
mm,
fall. So we have time to ripe our grapes. So
right.
it's a very unique place. It's a question that I never asked myself, like what are other region would I compare? But yeah, we have kind of the best of the best. Like we have the coolness, we have the sunshine, and everything is drip irrigated, and because we are allowed to irrigate, we collect the water from the rain, so we have like water reservoirs, so we are never gonna have problems of because in Uruguay it rains in the summer, but little by little with the climate change, we've been experiencing more drought, like
Mm.
drier and drier summers. But in Garzon, we ensure the quality and the consistency in the quality of our wines, just because we irrigate. Everything is drip irrigated, so
Love
it's
that.
pretty
And I
cool.
know you spend a lot of time educating and, going around the country and teaching people more about your winery and the region and these beautiful wines that we've been tasting. What are there any wine myths that as you encounter people that people believe that you're just here to tell them this is just not true? Maybe about your region, maybe about wine in general, anything that you keep bumping up against that you want to set straight?
Oh, first of all, like, I really love to taste with people that is eager to learn and to open their minds. And like, I think Uruguay, it's a new region, but it's not new anymore. It's been there's a buzz regarding Uruguayan wines. There's many other producers in Uruguay that I really invite you to try. Garzon wines are the quality is there. Like most of the time, I don't even say the wines from Uruguay. I arrive with the bottle, and I remember a sommelier with eyes closed. She said Barolo. No,
Oh.
it's not Barolo. It's Uruguay. Well, a lot of Italian influence in my country. Actually, the winemaker consultant is Italian. But our winemaker Herman he comes from a family of many generations of winemakers, and he's born and raised in Uruguay. He's an amazing human being, and he's truly showing the essence of our terroir. Um, so going to your question, is regarding what myths I want to break regarding. Well, first
Yes.
of all, the myth of Tannat. Tannat is not harsh and unapproachable. Tannat is beautiful,
No.
velvety, and healthy. Albariño is not only from Rias Baixas and Vinho Verde in Portugal. We have one of the best Albariños in the world. So go taste
Mm-hmm.
Albariño. But we're more than Albariño and Tannat. So if you want to get more adventurous, try our Cabernet Franc, our Marcelin, our Pinot Noir Rosé, our Sauvignon Blanc. So we have many wines in the market, and US is our number one market. So you can, thanks to our importer Winebow, you're able to find most of our wines here in the States.
I love that. Well, note taken. And I'm super excited about everything I've tasted here today, and to taste the things I haven't tasted yet. So I'll put those on my wine list for sure. This has been so amazing. I just really appreciate your time letting us know about Garcon, the country of Uruguay, and the winemaking that's being done. I'm going to link your website to mine so people can check it out. And obviously, they can find it in their markets around the US. But thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. This has been fun.
Thank you so much, Laurie, for this opportunity. With Garzon, we just need the opportunity to just taste the wines. You're going to love them. You're going to fall in love. Thanks to our importer Winebow, thanks to my people, thanks to you specifically, because we've had fun this morning. We drank
Yes, of
some
course.
wines, we talked wine, and we became friends. So
I
always
love
food,
that.
friends, wine and friends always, to have a good
Oh,
time. And
I
yeah,
love
life.
that.
Yes.
There's an old proverb that I use a lot when I do events that says, over a bottle of wine, many a friend is made. So I've loved spending this time with you, my friend, and I look forward to the next one. So cheers.
I look forward to receive you in Garzón. Salud.
Cheers. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I